All right, so let's talk about something. Let's go through a quote. I'm just going to read you a quote that I saw on Reddit the other day. Let me see if I can just find it here. And yeah, here we are. I'm just going to read you the quote verbatim and then we can have a discussion after that because it's worth going through, especially when it comes to persuasion, positioning, and a whole lot of other stuff that relates to business as a whole. So basically, here's the quote. I was 20 or 21 and about to board the plane to film a low budget shoot in Romania. As I was getting into the van to the airport, a producer came up to me with a blank envelope. Hey, I need you to give this to the producer, Vlad, when you get there. What is it? $25,000 in cash. Don't declare it at customs. I was a kid, so I did it. End quote. So, basically, first and foremost, I don't endorse anybody doing that. If you're young and up and coming and people are telling you to actually break the law by smuggling money into a foreign country or smuggling money as a whole, don't do it. I mean, why do you need to bring $25,000 in cash to a producer unless that producer is highly corrupt or is part of some whitewashing scheme? Or it's, I don't know, part of some drug smuggling, offshoring deal. I don't really know. I don't want to speculate. Except don't do it, obviously, because it's illegal and it's wrong. And you don't want to dabble with people like that anyway. I mean, what do you think the next task for this young fella is? Oh, so after giving the envelope with $25,000 to Vlad, here are some pills that I need to smuggle back into the United States. Oh, okay. What sort of a pill? What sort of pills are they? Ah, don't ask so many questions. Just smuggle them. Just don't declare them. Just pack them into your checked luggage, and everything will be fine. Right? It's just weird. So basically, you don't want to do that. You want to stay as far. Excuse me. You want to stay as far. Why can't I talk today? You want to stay as far as humanly possible away from people like that because they bring nothing but trouble. Now, the interesting part, after having said that, though, and let me just tell you, if that were me, if I were that young kid who'd gotten the request to deliver $25,000 in cash in a white envelope and don't declare it at customs, I'd said no, I'm not going to do that, and then I'd probably just have walked away and resigned from the job because the likelihood of them asking me to do more criminal stuff would probably have increased. And I'm not into the business of doing criminal stuff, obviously, and you shouldn't be either. So don't do that. Now, with respect to persuasion and positioning, this is very important because what is this scene here from a marketing perspective? The vendor is the producer who hands the envelope to the young kid. The market is the young kid, and the product or service or the accolade that the young kid wants is promotion, recognition within the firm, and a possible path to, I don't know, more movie production in another company. And so he needs to get on the good side. He needs to be in the good books with his current promotion. And so that's the motivation. And that's why, according to the quote, he actually did it because the motivation was so high for him to proceed within the movie industry that he was willing to break the law. Which, again, don't do it. And, obviously, if you work for somebody and they actually tell you to break the law, then walk away. Because it probably will have severe consequences for you down the line. And you don't want that. This is kind of like positioning because you need to position yourself in a better place. From the movie producers from the producer who handed the envelope to the young kid. This is a perfect way of taking advantage of positioning. This fella is on his way to Romania and is going to meet Vlad. Why don't I just, you know, leave him with the envelope and let him take the risk? Because that's how drug smuggling probably works. I'm saying probably because obviously I haven't done it, but I've listened to a lot of people who have said in podcasts and interviews how it works. You need to find a scapegoat. You need to find somebody to accept the blame, a fall guy. And so basically, don't do it. Stay away from it. Learn to position yourself. I'll end with a somewhat happier note. We all know about these OnlyFans girls, right? Who flash their titties and show off their nude bodies, and lots of horny men salivate over the site and want to pay them money. Well, guess what? Here's what I forecast. With the current girl boss agenda and how no woman needs a man and blah blah blah, there's going to be a lot of single and bitter 35 plus years women. If you're a young stud, you're into cougars, well, it's harvesting season. That's positioning. We can talk about that later, in a later podcast or a later video. For now, if you want to learn more about sales, persuasion, and business, get subscribed to my ad publisher list. The link to do so is below the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.